Welcome to our journey into local search mastery, where we will demystify the mechanisms that turn your business profile into a primary lead generation machine. In this module, I will guide you through the fundamental principles of local SEO and how to secure your position in the competitive map pack. This content is for informational and entertainment purposes only and does not constitute professional business, marketing, or legal advice. Always consult a qualified professional before making business decisions. Additionally, this course is independently produced and is not affiliated with, endorsed by, or connected to Google or its subsidiaries in any way. All trademarks belong to their respective owners. Local search is not merely a subset of traditional search engine optimization, but rather a distinct discipline focused on the unique behavioral patterns of users seeking immediate, geographically relevant solutions. While traditional SEO often chases global keywords and broad informational intent, local SEO is anchored by the physical reality of a business. When a user searches for a service like a plumber or a barista, the search engine does not just look for the best content. It looks for the most relevant neighbor. This proximity-based focus requires a completely different technical approach, where your digital footprint must be mapped explicitly to a real-world location. By mastering this, you shift your business from fighting for abstract relevance to owning the local market share that competitors often overlook. To understand why this matters, imagine the consumer journey of someone looking for a specific service on their phone. They have high commercial intent, which is far more valuable than a casual reader of a blog. We focus primarily on the local pack, that cluster of 3 map results appearing at the very top of the search engine results page, because it captures the vast majority of clicks. Being in this pack requires a sophisticated understanding of Google's 3 ranking pillars: relevance, distance, and prominence. Relevance measures how well your business profile matches a user's search intent. Distance considers where the user is relative to your business, and prominence considers your business's overall footprint in the offline and online world. We will spend our time here stripping away the noise to show you exactly how to manipulate these variables in your favor. In this course, we will not rely on theoretical abstractions, but on actionable strategies involving the Google Business Profile Manager and various analytical tools. You will learn to treat your business profile not as a static contact card, but as an interactive dashboard that demands consistent updates, accurate data, and strategic engagement. We will delineate between common SEO myths and the hard, verifiable signals that actually move the needle in local rankings. By the end of this curriculum, you will possess a repeatable blueprint for increasing your visibility in localized organic results. This is about converting your local presence into tangible growth, ensuring that when the market needs a solution, your business is the first one they see. I look forward to building this foundation with you in our next session. Welcome to this chapter on mastering the Google Business Profile, where we will focus on the fundamental task of establishing your official presence on Google. By the end of this module, you will understand how to securely claim and verify your business listing to ensure you maintain complete control over your digital footprint. Claiming your Google Business Profile is the foundational first step toward appearing in local search results and Google Maps. Before you can perform any optimization, you must prove to Google that you are indeed the owner or authorized representative of the business in question. The process begins by navigating to the Google Business Profile website and signing in with a dedicated Google account, preferably one that is not tied to personal email addresses, to ensure long-term security. If you find that a profile already exists for your location, you will need to request ownership through the dashboard. This action sends a notification to the current verified owner, initiating a conflict resolution process where you may need to provide legal documentation or proof of operations if the request is initially denied. Maintaining firm control over this account prevents unauthorized users or competitors from gaining access to your business information, which is a critical aspect of your digital security. Once the claiming process is initiated, Google requires a verification method to confirm that your business resides at the physical address provided. The primary methods currently include postcard verification, phone verification, email verification, and increasingly, video verification where you record your storefront or equipment. The postcard method is the most traditional, involving a physical mailer sent to your location that contains a unique 5-digit code you must enter into your dashboard to activate the profile. Video verification often requires you to show the signage, the entrance, and sometimes even your business licenses or utilities to prove that your presence is authentic and not a hollow virtual office. If you encounter delays, it is usually because the address lacks a clear public presence or because the account has been flagged by automated signals as suspicious. Always ensure that your listed details align perfectly with your official business registration and website to mitigate these friction points, as mismatched data is the most common reason for verification failures. After your listing is successfully verified, you must remain vigilant regarding the public's ability to influence your profile via the Suggest and Edit feature. Google allows users and competitors to propose changes to your business hours, category, or contact information, and these edits can sometimes go live without your immediate intervention. To protect your listing, you should log into your dashboard regularly to check for pending updates or notifications from Google regarding suggested changes. If a malicious actor or a confused customer attempts to alter your data, rejecting these changes promptly is necessary to preserve the accuracy of your NAP information, which stand for name, address, and phone number. Allowing incorrect information to persist on your listing can be interpreted by search algorithms as an inconsistency, which eventually leads to ranking penalties if Google can no longer verify which version of your business data is the source of truth. Data integrity is not merely a task for setup, but a permanent commitment to your local SEO strategy, as search engines favor businesses that maintain high consistency across all platforms. Every piece of information entered during the initial setup must match the details found on your website, your social media profiles, and any third-party directory listings you maintain. Using slight variations, such as including the word office in one place and omitting it in another, can create ambiguity for the algorithm and diminish your authority in local queries. Treat your business address and phone number as static assets that should remain identical everywhere they are cited. By enforcing this strict standard from the very beginning, you create a robust foundation that allows you to layer on advanced optimizations without worrying that conflicting data will undermine your hard work. I will see you in the next lecture. Welcome to our focused exploration of optimizing your core business profile information, where we will refine the foundational data that drives your local discovery. In this section, we will establish the precision required for search engines to trust your listing and connect you with the right audience. Selecting your primary business category requires a pragmatic approach that favors relevance over vanity, as this selection dictates the primary search queries for which you qualify. When you choose your primary category, you are effectively telling Google exactly what your business is, which limits the noise but increases the conversion potential of your traffic. Supplementary categories should be used to define the breadth of your services without diluting your primary identity. So avoid the temptation to select every category that is tangentially related. If you run a high-end coffee roastery, your primary category should be coffee roaster rather than just cafe, as it signals a higher order of intent to the algorithm. Always prioritize categories that directly map to your most profitable revenue streams, as this alignment is what ultimately influences your local ranking factors most significantly. Secondary categories are there to capture semantic variations of your core service, such as adding specialty coffee shop or espresso bar, which broadens your reach within the same thematic cluster. Remember that category choices are not set in stone, but changing them frequently can confuse the ranking signals, so stick to the most accurate definitions whenever possible. Focus on what you actually do rather than the industry jargon you might prefer. The algorithm responds best to common sense taxonomies that mirror actual user search behavior in your specific geographic market. Your business description needs to be a fine balance between keyword inclusion and natural, authoritative communication that speaks directly to the needs of the consumer. Loading this space with lists of keywords is an antiquated technique that triggers spam filters and diminishes the credibility of your profile in the eyes of both users and the ranking systems. Instead, construct a narrative that highlights your unique value proposition, clearly stating what problems you solve for local customers while naturally incorporating your primary service keywords. A well-crafted description serves as a conversion tool, encouraging users to click through because the text feels professional, approachable, and transparent regarding your specific service offerings. Avoid aggressive promotional language or excessive capitalization, as these are visual markers that often lead to algorithmic penalties or user mistrust. Keep your core keywords near the beginning of the text, but ensure they flow logically as part of complete sentences that describe your operating values or local history. This approach creates a signal-dense document that Google can parse easily, while simultaneously providing a positive experience for potential clients reading your profile on a small mobile device screen. Defining your service area versus your physical store location requires an honest assessment of your business model, as the two are not interchangeable. For a brick-and-mortar storefront, your address serves as the anchor for your local footprint, and users expect to find you at that specific point on the map. Conversely, a service area business, such as a plumbing company or a landscaping firm, should focus exclusively on the geographic regions they actively visit, as claiming a massive, unrealistic radius will only result in lower engagement signals. When you input these areas, select specific towns, cities, or postal codes where you have established a presence or intend to dominate, rather than attempting to blanket an entire state. This granular approach prevents your listing from showing up for irrelevant searches that you simply cannot fulfill, which in turn improves the click-through rates that further reinforce your authority in your target zones. Distinguishing your profile as service-based ensures that you are ranked based on the relevance of your service to the local population, rather than mere proximity to a central business district of a city where you do not operate. The consistency of your NAP data, which stand for name, address, and phone number, is perhaps the most fundamental requirement for establishing digital trust. You must ensure that the information on your profile aligns perfectly with the details found on your official business registration, legal documents, and your primary website. If your business is legally registered as Smith & Sons Contracting LLC, yet your profile displays Smith & Sons, you have introduced a friction point that can lead to data mismatches across the broader internet ecosystem. Verify every small detail, including abbreviations like street versus street or saint versus suite, and ensure this format is replicated with absolute precision across all your digital touchpoints. Search engines evaluate the coherence of these data points to confirm the legitimacy of your business, and even minor discrepancies can lead to the creation of duplicate listings or fragmented authority. Dedicate time to confirming your phone number format is uniform in every location, as this serves as a consistent key that links your diverse directory footprints back to a single, verified entity in the search index. Maintaining precise operating hours is a critical aspect of customer experience that directly informs the algorithm's understanding of your availability and reliability. You must treat your seasonal changes and holiday hours as urgent updates, as informing your potential customers that you are closed when you're actually open leads to dissatisfied users and negative feedback. Google prioritizes businesses that demonstrate they are actively managed, and frequently updating your hours during festive seasons or public holidays is a clear signal of an active, reliable operation. If your business hours vary based on seasonal demands, ensure you schedule these changes in advance to maintain the integrity of your profile information. Automating this process is not always possible, so integrate these updates into your regular operational cadence, much like you would manage your inventory or accounts. A profile that correctly reflects whether you're currently open or closed significantly impacts your local search prominence, especially for users searching for open now results. Reliability here is not just about rankings, but about the trust you build with your local community by being a source of accurate, actionable information. I will see you in the next lecture. Welcome back. In this chapter, we will examine how your visual media assets influence local search rankings and consumer behavior. Visual content serves as the primary touchpoint for users interacting with your Google business profile, acting as a proxy for the physical experience of your business. When a user first lands on your listing, they're not reading textual descriptions. They're scanning images to determine if your service or product matches their immediate needs. To optimize these assets, you must begin with high-resolution imagery that accurately reflects your business's exterior, interior, and core products. These photos should be crisp, well-lit, and representative of the actual customer experience to build baseline credibility. Google's algorithms favor high-quality engagement, and statistics consistently suggest that profiles with frequent, high-quality image uploads receive significantly more direction requests and website clicks. Avoid using generic stock photos, as they fail to convey the authenticity required to rank in competitive local search environments. Each image should be selected to serve a specific purpose, such as showcasing your workspace, highlighting your team, or displaying the final result of your service delivery. Technical precision is required when managing your branding assets, specifically regarding the logo and cover photo, which define the visual identity of your listing. Your logo should be uploaded at a square aspect ratio, ideally 720 by 720 pixels, ensuring it remains legible when displayed in smaller interface elements like the knowledge panel or search results. The cover photo, however, commands a larger canvas, and Google recommends a 16:9 aspect ratio with a resolution of 1024 by 576 pixels. Because these images are often cropped based on the viewer's device, you must ensure that key textual elements or visual details are centered to avoid being cut off. You should treat these guidelines not as rigid restrictions, but as technical constraints within which you must operate to communicate professionalism. Maintaining these specific dimensions prevents the system from automatically cropping your assets in an unflattering way that detracts from your brand's perceived authority. Integrating 360-degree virtual tours has evolved from a novel feature into a functional requirement for businesses looking to enhance their prominence in local search. This visual format provides a comprehensive sense of your physical location, allowing prospective customers to explore your premises remotely before they decide to visit in person. By embedding a 360-degree view, you extend the dwell time on your profile, which is a metric that correlates positively with search ranking signals. This type of content is particularly effective for service venues, restaurants, and retail spaces where atmosphere and facility quality are primary decision factors. If you choose to implement this, ensure that the lighting within the tour is professional and that the navigation paths are intuitive for the user. A poorly constructed virtual tour that glitches or offers low-resolution views will likely have an adverse effect on user engagement, so invest in quality captures. While the direct ranking impact of image metadata, like geotags, remains a topic of nuance, practicing proper file management remains a best practice for consistent data representation. Before uploading individual photos, you should use tools to append geographic information, such as latitude and longitude, directly into the image file's EXIF data. This provides additional context to search engines about where the visual representation actually aligns with your physical service area. Beyond tagging, ensure that file names are descriptive rather than generic placeholders generated by cameras or smartphones, such as changing img_1234.jpg to kitchen remodeling service london.jpg. This process assists in organizing your content assets on your internal systems while ensuring that if an image is ever crawled, the file property offers immediate thematic relevance. Maintain this habit as part of your standard operational workflow whenever new media assets are produced for your business profile. User-generated content acts as a powerful form of social proof, often carrying more weight in the eyes of prospective customers than polished professional photography. You should actively encourage your existing clients to upload their own photos of their experience, whether it is an image of the meal they ordered or the finished project you were hired to complete. This serves two purposes. It creates a constant stream of fresh updates to your profile, which suggests active business maintenance to the search engine, and it offers prospective buyers an unfiltered look at your service quality. To leverage this effectively, incorporate simple requests into your post-service communication or place signs in your physical location that remind customers to tag their photos when sharing. When customers upload these images, your role is to review and engage with them where possible, acknowledging their contribution and strengthening the relationship between your local audience and your brand. See you in the next lecture. Welcome back to our exploration of Google Business Profile features, where we turn your raw listing into a high-converting landing page. In this lesson, we will focus on the Products and Services tabs to capture highly specific local intent. Many business owners treat the Products and Services sections as mere digital brochures, failing to realize their potential as powerful components of the local search algorithm. When you populate these areas with specific, granular offerings, you are effectively providing Google with structured data that defines exactly what happens within your business walls. Think of this as an intentional exercise in mapping your operational reality to the vocabulary your potential customers use when they type queries into their smartphones. By organizing these lists with precision, you increase the probability of your business appearing when a searcher uses a long-tail keyword that matches a specific item or labor category you provide. We move away from generic descriptions and instead move toward a model where every line item serves a distinct purpose in your broader keyword strategy. This does not require keyword stuffing, but rather a structured approach to naming and categorizing your offerings so that the intent of the searcher is perfectly reflected in your profile. Let us begin with the Services tab, which should be viewed as the architectural framework of your professional value proposition. You must group your services into logical categories that mirror the mental model of your ideal customer, rather than organizing them by internal departmental silos. For a law firm, this might mean separating services by practice area, such as personal injury or estate planning, rather than by internal legal status. Each individual service entity allows for a description field, which is your opportunity to inject context without the clutter associated with main website copy. Keep these descriptions focused on the specific problem the customer is trying to solve while naturally incorporating relevant modifiers. By keeping the structure balanced, you ensure that someone searching for a highly localized, specific service finds the exact category that matches their immediate need. Always remember that Google processes this data to understand the reach of your business operations in the community. The Products tab operates on a slightly different logic, as it often demands visual presence and pricing information to drive immediate transactional interest. Unlike the Services list, the Products feature allows for pricing ranges or fixed figures, which act as a powerful filter for quality leads before they even click through to your website. When writing these descriptions, focus on the unique selling proposition of the physical item and include the technical or practical specifications that a discerning buyer would find relevant. If you have the capability to show real-time availability, you should definitely enable it, as this reduces friction for the customer and acts as a signal of trust for the search engine. Using high-quality images alongside these descriptions creates a gallery effect that keeps users engaged with your profile longer than they would with a text-only listing. This increased dwell time on your business profile is a positive engagement metric that signals your relevance to the local algorithm. One of the most common mistakes I see in technical audits is the lack of alignment between the language used in these tabs and the language found on your actual landing pages. Your Google business profile acts as the storefront, but the products and services sections are the display windows that tell the search engine where the customer should be sent for a deeper dive. If you offer a service named Emergency Plumbing Repair in your profile, the link associated with that item should ideally point directly to a page dedicated to emergency plumbing, not your homepage. Maintaining this parity helps Google validate the legitimacy of your claims through a consistent semantic connection across the web. While you're adding this content, be mindful of the tone. You want to maintain a professional appearance that reflects your brand identity while still being descriptive enough to satisfy the requirements of search intent. It is a delicate balance of providing data for the machine while speaking the language of a human customer. You must also consider the layout of these tabs as prime real estate that can evolve as your business changes. I recommend reviewing your products and services list at least quarterly to remove items that are no longer offered or to add new seasonal specials that might be trending. This refresh cycle not only helps with your local ranking, but also shows potential customers that your business is active and attentive to their current needs. If you notice a particular service or product gathering a high number of clicks, use that data to refine your broader content strategy on your website. Use the built-in inventory features to show stock levels when applicable, as this is a tangible feature that Google provides to ensure transparency for the end user. Ultimately, your goal is to make the decision-making process as simple as possible for the user while providing Google with all the data points it needs to classify you correctly. I will see you in the next lesson. Welcome back. In this chapter, we will explore the strategic application of Google Business Profile posts to maintain relevance and drive user engagement. Google Posts act as a dynamic conduit between your business and the user searching on the map pack. By leveraging these updates, you provide Google with fresh signals that your entity is active and current, which is a significant factor in maintaining visibility. When you publish a post, you are essentially creating a localized feed that can surface directly in the search results, often leading to the generation of justify snippets. A justification is a small excerpt of text, often pulled from a recent post or review, that informs the user why your business is highly relevant to their specific query. By aligning your post keywords with the intent behind a search, you increase the likelihood of Google highlighting your content as the justification, which can significantly boost your click-through rate compared to competitors who remain passive. To build an effective posting strategy, you must first establish a consistent cadence rather than relying on sporadic bursts of activity. While there is no hard rule stating that a daily post is mandatory, an active profile benefits from a rhythm that keeps users informed about your current offerings. You should map out a seasonal calendar that anticipates customer needs before they arise, such as highlighting winterization services for landscaping companies in late autumn or promoting gift cards for retail shops well before the holidays. This proactive approach ensures that your Google business profile remains a living document that Google's local algorithms can crawl and reindex frequently. Consistency is not merely about volume, but about ensuring that a prospective customer who encounters your profile always finds timely, functional information that encourages interaction. When crafting the creative component of your posts, you must balance visual impact with technical constraints to ensure the content is readable and effective. Google enforces guidelines regarding image-to-text ratios. Keeping text overlaid on images to a minimum is essential to prevent search-side automated filters from flagging your content as cluttered or disruptive. Your visual assets should be high-quality, authentic representations of your work or environment, rather than generic stock photography that fails to build trust. When including a call to action button, such as Learn More, Call Now, or Book Online, ensure that the link flows logically into the landing page mentioned in the post copy. If the post highlights a specific event or service, the destination URL should lead directly to that specific section of your website, minimizing friction for the user who is already demonstrating intent. Metrics analysis is the final critical step in refining your messaging strategy for maximum impact. Google provides data on how many users viewed your posts and how many opted to click the call to action button, which serves as a feedback loop for your content strategy. If you notice that educational posts about your services generate higher engagement than promotional discount offers, you should pivot your editorial calendar to reflect that preference. You should track these performance indicators over a sustained period to identify patterns in your local demographics behavior, as this allows you to stop guessing what works and start optimizing for proven results. By systematically iterating on your messaging based on these hard numbers, you shift from treating your profile as a static listing to viewing it as a responsive, high-converting digital storefront that rewards active management. I will see you in the next lecture. Welcome back. In this chapter, we will explore how to manage direct communications and public inquiries effectively within your Google business profile to build trust and authority. Direct messaging on Google Business Profile acts as a bridge between a casual searcher and a committed customer. When you enable the messaging feature, you provide a frictionless channel for leads to ask specific questions about your services or inventory without leaving the Google interface. It is imperative to remember that Google prioritizes businesses that demonstrate responsiveness, as this signals an active and reliable entity. You should configure the automated welcome message to greet potential clients immediately, which sets the right expectations while ensuring you are ready to engage. However, the true value lies in your actual response time, which should be fast enough to prevent the user from bouncing to a competitor. Aim to respond within a few business hours to maintain high satisfaction rates. Establishing internal protocols for who monitors these messages is essential, as neglect will swiftly lead to Google disabling the feature on your listing. Treating this inbox with the same professional rigor as your email system will ultimately lead to higher conversion rates from your local search presence. The questions and answers section of your profile is a public, community-driven space that is often underestimated by business owners. Unlike private messages, these questions and their answers are indexed by search engines and remain visible to everyone, making them a significant area to exert control. Proactive management involves seeding this section with your own frequently asked questions to address common barriers to purchase. By asking and answering questions about your service hours, payment methods, or specific expert capabilities, you guide the customer's decision-making process before they even visit your website. This approach allows you to weave local keywords into your responses naturally. If a user asks about your plumbing services, answering with a mention of your specific service area in the city reinforces geographic relevance. Ensure that your responses maintain a helpful, community-focused tone, as this builds brand authority and signals to Google that your profile provides high-quality information. Maintaining a professional image requires constant vigilance, especially when it comes to the public nature of user-generated content in the Q&A section. Occasionally, you may encounter inappropriate questions, spam, or even false information posted by competitors or malicious actors. You must monitor this section daily to ensure that inaccuracies are corrected or reported to Google for removal. Reporting is a straightforward process, but you should only use it for content that strictly violates Google's policies regarding hate speech, harassment, or irrelevant commercial promotion. When inaccuracies appear, it is usually better to provide a factual, polite response that corrects the record rather than just deleting the inquiry. This demonstrates transparency and reliability to anyone reading through the thread. By engaging with both legitimate and challenging questions, you cement your profile as an authoritative source of information that is actively managed and human-centered. Consider the long-term strategic advantage of integrating targeted keywords into your Q&A answers without resorting to keyword stuffing. When you write responses, focus on providing genuine assistance, as Google's algorithms are increasingly adept at identifying natural language patterns versus spammy attempts to manipulate search results. Use the Q&A section to highlight your unique selling propositions, such as specific certifications or unique service offerings that might not be as visible in your main business description. Keep in mind that a well-crafted answer can address a customer's doubt, provide the exact answer they are looking for, and improve your local relevance simultaneously. This holistic strategy turns a simple support tool into a potent component of your overall search engine optimization efforts. Consistency in your tone and the depth of information you provide will eventually distinguish your business from competitors who leave these sections completely empty or neglected. Always view every interaction in these channels as a representation of your brand identity in a local marketplace. While the technical setup of messaging and Q&A is simple, the execution of the content strategy requires intentionality and a commitment to customer service standards. High responsiveness and thoughtful, keyword-rich answers signal to both the search giant and potential customers that you are the premier choice in your vicinity. Do not let these features remain stagnant, as a stagnant profile can inadvertently communicate a lack of professional interest to your prospects. By integrating these practices into your daily operations, you effectively manage your business reputation while optimizing for the search visibility you desire. Finalize your settings today to ensure you are ready to capture every possible lead through these essential communication touchpoints. I will see you in the next lecture. Welcome back. In this chapter, we will explore the nuances of local keyword research and how to align your content strategy with actual searcher intent. Defining local intent is the cornerstone of any effective geographical search strategy, as it moves us away from broad, generic volume and toward high-conversion traffic. When a user conducts a search, the query usually falls into one of two categories: explicit or implicit local intent. An explicit query contains clear modifiers, such as a city name, neighborhood, or the ever-present near me suffix. These are straightforward signals for search engines because they explicitly state where the user wants to conduct a transaction or receive a service. However, Google's algorithms are increasingly sophisticated at identifying implicit intent, where the user types a service like plumber or dentist without a location but expects results reflecting their current physical proximity. As practitioners, our goal is to capture both by optimizing for the specific vocabulary used by your local audience rather than purely national search volume. You must understand that local SEO is not just about rankings, but about relevance. If you appear for a query that leads to a conversion mismatch, you have effectively wasted your opportunity. To identify these terms, we rely on established keyword research tools, though we must shift our methodology slightly to favor low competition, localized niches. Most industry standard tools will show massive volume for broad terms, yet these are often dominated by large-scale aggregators or national brands that lack the local serviceability you possess. You're looking for the long tail of local search, which consists of specific service plus location pairings that might appear to have low monthly volume but carry a significantly higher probability of conversion. Use these tools to perform a gap analysis by identifying the phrases your competitors are ignoring or failing to optimize for effectively. Often, national competitors ignore specific suburban regions or highly specific service combinations because they are too granular to fit into a massive, automated strategy. You should aggressively target these gaps, creating dedicated pathways that acknowledge these hyperlocal needs, as this allows you to capture traffic that larger, blunter instruments often miss. Understanding the searcher journey is just as critical as selecting the keywords themselves, as local intent changes as a user moves closer to a transaction. At the top of the funnel, a user might search for best way to fix a leaky faucet, which is informational and localized only by the context of their environment. By the time they arrive at the middle of the funnel, they are comparing providers, leading to searches like top-rated emergency plumbers near downtown. Finally, the transactional stage involves specific intent queries like book a plumber near me for today. Your keyword strategy should map these intent-driven queries to specific types of content, ensuring that your landing pages answer the current question of the user. If you send a visitor looking for quick availability to a page designed to explain the general history of your trade, you will lose that user immediately. Mapping these keywords creates a structured ecosystem where every visitor finds the exact information needed to justify a call, an email, or a physical visit to your business. When analyzing opportunities, you should look for patterns in the suggested search autocompletes and the people also ask sections that appear in the results page, which are gold mines for local intent. These represent the active questions your real-life customers are asking, and they often mirror the exact language used in offline conversations. If you consistently hear a customer describe a service in a unique way, perhaps using a colloquial term for a neighborhood or a specific product model, you should integrate that language into your keyword set. Do not rely solely on data exported from software. Your own business intelligence is an underutilized research tool. By synthesizing raw data with the qualitative insights gathered from staff members who face customers every day, you can craft a keyword strategy that feels organic and highly relevant. This human-centric approach is precisely where smaller, agile businesses outperform massive brands that are handcuffed by rigid corporate SEO guidelines. See you in the next lecture. Welcome. We will now focus on the methodical approach to auditing the top 3 competitors in the map pack and localized organic search results to gain a strategic advantage. To begin a meaningful investigation of your search landscape, you must first precisely identify who is currently dominating the map pack, as these entities represent the benchmarks for your local market. Once you have pinpointed the top 3 performers, the process of reverse engineering their success begins by dissecting the underlying architecture of their authority. Start by analyzing their backlink profiles to determine the quality and relevance of the domains linking to their pages, rather than just the raw volume of links. You should also examine their total citation count to see how they have established their NAP, name, address, and phone number, consistency across third-party directories. Review velocity is another critical metric, as it indicates the ongoing level of consumer trust and engagement they maintain. By observing how frequently they acquire new reviews compared to your own current performance, you can set tangible benchmarks for your reputation management efforts. These data points provide a clear picture of why Google considers these sites reputable and worthy of prominent placement, allowing you to move beyond speculation and into evidence-based optimization. Once you have assessed the off-page authority, you must shift your focus toward the on-page content structures that define their topical presence. Observe how your competitors distribute their primary keywords within their landing pages, specifically looking for natural integration in headers, meta tags, and the body text itself. While keyword density was historically a primary metric, modern algorithms prioritize intent and semantic relevance. So you must analyze how well their content answers the specific questions that local users are asking. Look for internal linking strategies that connect their service pages to their core business offerings, as this creates a logical flow of information that search engines can easily crawl. By comparing their content length, formatting, and structural depth against your own assets, you can identify precisely where your site lacks the sufficient topical coverage they currently leverage. This granular evaluation often reveals significant weaknesses in their strategy, such as thin content or outdated page titles, which offer you clear openings to provide a superior user experience. A comprehensive audit is not static, as geography plays a significant role in how search results are served to individual users across different points within a city. You should utilize specialized geo-grid ranking tools to track how competitor visibility changes as you move from the city center to the outskirts of your service area. This analysis allows you to visualize pockets of opportunity where your competition is weak, even if they appear strong in their immediate vicinity. By mapping these ranking fluctuations, you can tailor your localized content to capture search demand in these underserved regions, effectively chipping away at their market share. You are essentially looking for variances in their local SEO performance that correspond to physical distance, which is a key signal that their location authority is not as uniform as it might initially seem. This technical approach transforms raw data into a map of where you should focus your most intensive content efforts for the highest potential return on investment. The goal of this reverse engineering process is to synthesize these findings into a strategic plan that allows you to exceed the current performance of your competitors. Instead of imitating their exact tactics, use the information you have gathered to identify their shortcomings and implement a more robust architecture that fulfills the needs of your local customers more effectively. High-quality SEO is rarely about finding a single hidden trick, but rather about executing a sequence of foundational practices with a higher degree of consistency and relevance than the surrounding competition. By systematically addressing their citation voids, creating more comprehensive and helpful content, and capitalizing on the geographic blind spots in their visibility, you position your business to naturally elevate its stature. Consider this audit as the blueprint for your own growth, ensuring that your local strategy is built on a foundation of observable facts and measurable realities. See you in the next lecture. Welcome to this deep dive into the architectural principles required for effective local landing pages. We will explore how to structure your multi-location assets to satisfy both search algorithms and human visitors. When we approach the architecture of location-specific pages, we must move beyond the superficial idea of simply swapping a city name into a template. A well-designed local landing page functions as a self-contained unit of authority that signals relevance to a search engine while providing actionable utility to a prospective customer. The URL structure serves as the foundation for this hierarchy, and it should remain clean, human-readable, and logical. For a business with multiple branches, a parent-child structure, such as domain.com/locations/city-name, is generally preferred over subdomains. This approach ensures that the cumulative PageRank flows through your primary site, rather than being fragmented across disparate web properties. Consistent folder depth across all locations facilitates easier site navigation for crawlers and helps maintain a predictable URL pattern that users can easily interpret as they move between your service areas. The internal linking architecture requires a balanced approach to prevent the formation of isolated silos. Every location page should link upwards to a central location's index page, and conversely, the main index should provide a clear path to each individual branch. While cross-linking between different city pages might seem like a way to spread link equity, it often introduces unnecessary noise that confuses the semantic focus of the page. Instead, emphasize links to relevant service category pages or core offerings that are common to all locations. By treating the landing page as a junction, you guide the user through a logical journey from general discovery to the specific solution provided at their nearest location. This internal navigation should be intuitive enough that a visitor never feels like they have reached a dead end, even if that specific location does not offer the exact service they initially sought. Heading hierarchies are not merely stylistic choices, but semantic signposts that define the scope of your content. Your H1 tag must explicitly mention the location and the primary service, as this serves as the primary hook for search engine crawlers parsing the page's intent. Beneath this, H2 tag should delineate logical sections, such as services offered, team information, and local contact details. H3 tags provide a layer of granularity for subset topics, such as specific subservices or unique community features associated with that branch. Maintaining a strict vertical hierarchy prevents the content from becoming disjointed, ensuring that the relevance of your keywords flows naturally from the broader service category down to the specific geographical constraint. If you attempt to stuff too many disparate topics into the header hierarchy, you risk diluting the semantic weight of the page, making it harder for Google to qualify that specific page for high-intent local queries. Embeddings, particularly reactive Google Maps, and NAP consistency are non-negotiable elements in this architecture. Your name, address, and phone number must be identical to the information provided on your primary Google business profile, down to the exact use of abbreviations or punctuation. If your profile lists a suite number as STE 100, do not switch to Suite 100 on your website, as these small discrepancies can introduce ambiguity that damages your local authority. The embedded map should be responsive, ensuring it scales correctly on mobile devices without breaking the layout or forcing horizontal scrolling. Beyond the technical implementation, these elements act as a verification anchor, confirming for both the crawler and the user that the digital representation on your site matches the physical reality of your business operation. Social proof and content relevance require strategic placement that enhances trust without overwhelming the core conversion elements. Including location-specific testimonials and case studies provides the local validation that generic global reviews often lack, proving you have served neighbors of the visitor. When embedding these, ensure they are crawlable text rather than images, allowing the search engine to extract keywords and sentiment associated with the local context. Integrating these elements directly into the page layout serves as a bridge for the human lead, as seeing a review from someone in their own town immediately reduces the perceived risk of engaging with your business for the first time. This strategy effectively balances the technical requirement for local signals with the psychological need for social validation, making the page work harder to secure conversion. Performance is the final architectural pillar, as users searching on the go demand near instant access to information. Mobile responsiveness is not a luxury, but a fundamental requirement, meaning your page must be optimized for speed, which includes compressing images and minimizing script payloads that do not contribute to the page's primary utility. A landing page that takes 5 seconds to load on a 4G connection will result in a bounce rate that signals low quality to search engines, regardless of how well optimized your keywords are. Focus on lazy loading heavier assets like your map embed or high-resolution team photos until they scroll into view. By prioritizing these technical efficiencies, you create an environment where the content you have worked so hard to structure can actually be seen and appreciated by the user at the exact moment they need your services. See you in the next lecture. Welcome to our discussion on crafting content that bridges the gap between your brand identity and the specific geographical areas you serve. In this session, we will explore how to signal location authority to search engines through strategic writing. When we approach content creation for local search, the primary objective is to demonstrate that your business is not merely present in a city, but is actually a functional part of the community fabric. It is a common mistake to assume that mentioning a city name repeatedly is a viable strategy, as modern search algorithms effectively filter out such keyword stuffing. Instead, we must treat local relevance as a form of contextual indexing where we reference specific landmarks, neighborhoods, and regional events. For instance, if you operate a plumbing service, mentioning that you frequently service the historic district near the Central Library or that you navigate the logistics of the annual Downtown Summer Festival builds a narrative of local familiarity. This level of granularity provides Google with the semantic signals it needs to associate your service pages with specific pockets of a broader metropolitan area. It does not look like a robot generated your content, but rather like a resident who understands the geography of the market. Integrating secondary geomodifiers requires a delicate touch to maintain a natural reading experience for your human visitors. A secondary geomodifier might be a specific neighborhood, a well-known local intersection, or even a regional moniker that locals use to describe their corner of the city. Successfully weaving these terms into your copy allows you to capture search intent from users who are looking for providers closest to their immediate vicinity rather than just the general city center. You should aim to incorporate these into your headers or subsections where the content justifies their presence. When you are writing a service page, consider describing your reach in terms that a local resident would use during conversation. Maintaining your brand voice is paramount, so do not abandon your unique tone just to force in a geographic reference that feels disjointed or awkward. To position your business as a true authority, you can leverage the creation of curated local guides or best of lists that extend beyond your immediate service offerings. By providing value through local recommendations, such as the best parks near your office or advice on seasonal maintenance specific to the regional climate, you establish your entity as a hub of information. This strategy aligns perfectly with Google's helpful content update, which emphasizes the necessity of producing material that provides genuine value to the human reader rather than just satisfying a machine's requirement for keywords. When a site provides unique insights about the local area, it signals a high level of expertise, experience, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness, often referred to as EAT. Because your competitors are likely relying on generic template language, providing these specific, original reflections on your environment offers a distinct competitive advantage. The challenge of scaling this approach for businesses with dozens of near-identical locations is substantial, yet it is solvable through deliberate content differentiation. When you manage multiple locations, the temptation to use a standardized template for every service page is strong for the sake of administrative efficiency. However, a template approach fails to capture the unique local nuance that distinguishes one service area from another, leading to thin, uninspiring pages. To scale correctly, you must architect your pages so that only the foundational service information is standardized, while the context and anecdotal evidence are completely unique to that specific location. You can assign specific team members or local managers the task of providing local tidbits or event references that can be integrated into these pages. This synthesis of consistent core data with localized, high-quality descriptive copy satisfies the search engine's need for unique signals while maintaining a professional standard across your entire portfolio of sites. See you in the next lecture. Welcome back. In this session, we will examine the technical implementation of structured data to help search engines parse your business information more effectively. Schema markup is essentially a standardized vocabulary that allows you to communicate directly with search engines, removing ambiguity from the data present on your website. When we talk about local SEO, we are primarily concerned with JSON LD, a lightweight link data format that embeds seamlessly into your HTML headers. By explicitly defining your entity as a local business, you provide programmatic certainty regarding your name, address, and telephone number, which are critical signals for local ranking. This is not about keyword stuffing. It is about providing machine-readable facts that align perfectly with the information found in your external directory listings. When you structure your data correctly, you are essentially creating a formal contract with Google that clarifies exactly who you are and what you offer. If you view your website as an application, structured data is the API documentation that allows search crawlers to map your business model without relying solely on heuristic interpretation of your prose. To implement this, you must focus on the core taxonomy, specifically the local business type and its more granular subtypes like professional service or restaurant. Within this JSON LD block, you must include your geographic coordinates, which provide a precise point on a map rather than an approximation based on IP address or text-based addresses. You should also populate your opening hours using the ISO 8601 time standard, as this prevents common parsing errors that often occur when humans write opening hours in non-standard formats. Including price ranges is another vital step, as it helps search engines categorize your business in relation to competitors and user intent. Furthermore, incorporating review schema allows your aggregate rating to appear as a rich snippet in search results, which can significantly influence your click-through rate. Each property you add serves as a data point that reinforces your authority and helps the algorithm categorize your enterprise within a specific industry vertical inside a defined geographic service area. For those who are not comfortable writing raw JSON LD, the ecosystem of modern web development provides substantial support through plugins and script injections. If you're using a content management system, there are specific plugins designed to automate this, effectively handling the hierarchy of organization and local business markup without requiring you to touch the underlying source code. However, you must be careful to avoid redundancy. Injecting duplicate schema through multiple plugins or themes can create conflicting datasets that confuse search crawlers rather than assist them. A manual approach, while more demanding, always offers higher fidelity control over the data being transmitted. Regardless of the method you choose, the output must remain valid and clean, as malformed JSON will cause the entire structure to be ignored by search engine parsers. You should treat this code with the same rigor you would apply to any other part of your production code base, ensuring it is version controlled and verified whenever you update your operational details. Verification remains an essential final step that you should never omit, as assumptions about code success are rarely a substitute for empirical testing. You should regularly employ the Google Rich Results test to confirm that your markup is properly formatted and that the properties you have identified are actually being recognized by the Search Console. This tool creates a debugging environment where you can observe how Google interprets your structured data, highlighting any syntax errors or missing required fields before they impact your live search appearance. If the test indicates that your organization hierarchy is disconnected or that your geo-coordinates are out of bounds, you can immediately identify the offending lines of code. Treat the feedback from these tools as a quality-gated check for your SEO efforts. Only after the tool returns a green status should you consider your implementation complete and ready to contribute to your visibility on the search engine results page. Enhanced search appearances, often referred to as rich snippets, are the primary reward for your investment in this structured data architecture. When you correctly define your events, products, or reviews via schema, search engines can display this metadata directly in the listing, essentially expanding your real estate on the screen. This increase in visual prominence is often the deciding factor in whether a potential customer chooses your site over a competitor who lacks such visual cues. It is important to remember that Google does not guarantee the display of these rich snippets, but providing the data is the minimum technical requirement to be considered for them. By treating your website as an entity that speaks the language of search engines, you reduce the noise and uncertainty that usually accompanies manual crawling processes. This programmatic approach ensures that your hard-won reputation and detailed business information are communicated with absolute clarity. I will see you in the next session. Welcome back. Today we are shifting our focus toward the mobile experience, which is arguably the most critical touchpoint for any business aiming to capture local intent. In the current landscape of search engine indexing, Google operates primarily under a mobile-first indexing policy. This means that when the Googlebot crawls your domain, it evaluates the mobile version of your site to determine its relevance and authority for ranking purposes, rather than the desktop version. For a local search, this relationship is even more pronounced because the user is often physically mobile, relying on a handheld device to solve an immediate problem. If your infrastructure is not designed to accommodate the constraints and expectations of a mobile browser, you are effectively signaling to the algorithm that your business is not a top-tier candidate for local recommendations. Treating mobile optimization as an afterthought is no longer a viable strategy for those who intend to dominate the local map pack. We must ensure that our technical choices reflect the fact that the majority of modern local search traffic originates from smartphone hardware. The primary objective for any local mobile site is to remove all friction from the conversion path between the search result and the physical visit. One of the most effective ways to achieve this is by prioritizing a well-placed, persistent, and functional click-to-call button. A user standing on a sidewalk searching for a service provider does not have the patience to navigate through multiple pages to find a phone number. By ensuring that your contact information is essentially one tap away, you accommodate the on-the-spot nature of the modern consumer. Furthermore, any contact or appointment forms must be architected for thumb-friendly interaction, which implies using large input fields, appropriate keyboard triggering for phone or email types, and minimizing the number of required fields. Friction is the enemy of conversion, and in a mobile context, a cumbersome form will lead to an immediate abandonment rate that you simply cannot afford. Technical performance remains a pillar of mobile usability, particularly when we account for users operating on fluctuating data connections. Large, non-optimized images can severely hamper the loading time of a mobile page, causing a user to abandon the site before they even see your primary value proposition. You should implement modern compression standards, such as WebP, and ensure that your script execution is deferred or async to prevent blocking the rendering process. When a user lands on your site expecting to see a storefront map or a directory of services, that data must populate almost instantaneously. If the map tiles fail to load or the directory is hidden behind a heavy layer of JavaScript, the user experience suffers, and Google's Core Web Vitals assessment will reflect these deficiencies. Fast-loading elements are not just a luxury. They are a prerequisite for maintaining your position in competitive local search results. To continuously improve these metrics, you must become familiar with the mobile usability reports available within Google Search Console. These reports function as a diagnostic tool that identifies specific issues, such as text that is too small to read or clickable elements that are positioned too close together. Ignoring these alerts is a mistake because they identify precisely where your mobile implementation fails to meet Google's standards for accessibility and function. By reviewing these logs regularly, you can pinpoint the bottlenecks that prevent your site from delivering a seamless mobile interaction. This data informs not just where you are failing, but where you should invest your development resources to maximize your rankings. A disciplined approach to auditing these reports provides a clear, objective view of where your mobile infrastructure stands compared to the rest of the market. Finally, we must consider how location services on mobile devices influence the real-time search experience. When a consumer uses a GPS-enabled device, Google often provides results based on extreme proximity, sometimes even ignoring other traditional ranking signals if the user requires immediate assistance. Your site needs to be optimized to signal this relevance clearly, which means correctly utilizing local schema and ensuring your site content reflects the specific geographical area you serve. By aligning your technical output, like store maps and address data, with the signals expected by mobile location API calls, you allow your business to appear as a relevant entity in the user's immediate context. This alignment makes your business far more likely to appear in the map pack when a potential customer is walking or driving nearby. Mobile optimization is ultimately about meeting the user where they are, both digitally and physically. I look forward to discussing how these elements integrate with our broader citation strategy in the next lecture. Welcome back. Today we examine the NAP consistency standard, a fundamental building block of local search authority that often gets overlooked despite its simplicity. In the world of local search, NAP stands for name, address, and phone number, and it represents the primary data points Google uses to verify your business's physical existence. When you provide Google with information about your business, the algorithm cross-references those details against thousands of other sources across the internet to build a confidence score. If your business is listed as Main Street on your website but Main ST on your Facebook page or local directory listings, you are essentially confusing the search engine. This discrepancy forces Google to spend computational resources trying to determine which version is the correct one. And when uncertainty arises, the system tends to favor more reliable or consistent competitors. It is not necessarily that Google is actively punishing you for a typo, but rather that it refuses to grant a high rank to a business entity it cannot definitively verify. Think of it as a form of digital identity verification where precision is the only measurement of success. Small variations like the inclusion of a suite number, the abbreviation of a road, or a changing business name can fracture your digital footprint. By treating these three data points as immutable constants, you remove friction from the verification process and signal to Google that your business is stable, established, and trustworthy. The normalization process should begin by establishing a single, authoritative version of your NAP data that serves as the source of truth for your entire organization. This specific string of text must be identical across your website's footer, your Google business profile, your social media presence, and any third-party directories, such as Yelp or Yellow Pages. A common point of failure occurs when companies update their address or phone number in one location, but forget to audit the backlog of old profiles they created years ago. You must conduct a systematic audit of every platform where your business appears to identify and rectify these fragmented data points. If you find multiple variations of your company name, such as including a DBA or a descriptive tag that shouldn't be there, you must prune those down to the exact legal or primary operating name. Standardization even extends to punctuation and formatting. If you use parentheses for your area code, use them everywhere, and if you use hyphens, maintain that style universally. This level of obsessive consistency provides the algorithm with a clear signal that every link across the web refers exactly to the same physical entity. Once you have normalized these entries, the long-term impact on your local rankings can be profound, as Google feels increasingly comfortable placing your business in a map pack. Implementing this consistency at the technical level on your website is quite straightforward, but requires strict adherence to your established standard. The most effective way to handle this is by consolidating your NAP information into the global footer of your website, ensuring it appears on every single page. By including the name, address, and phone number in the footer, you provide a persistent signal that remains constant regardless of which landing page a user or bot is currently crawling. Avoid embedding this information as an image, as search crawlers need to parse the actual text to compare it against your offsite citations. Use Schema Markup to structurally define these elements for the search engine, which I will explain in subsequent sessions, but keep the visible text plain and legible for human users. If you have multiple locations, the footer strategy needs to be handled via specific location-based pages, though each page must only display the NAP details relevant to that specific geographic storefront. Never attempt to list multiple addresses in a single footer, as this creates the same ambiguity that you are trying to eliminate by optimizing your citations. Treat your website footer as the primary anchor for the digital map you are building for your business. Auditing your current digital footprint can be a labor-intensive task, but it is necessary for cleaning up the conflicting data that might be stalling your search performance. You can start this process by performing a simple search for your business name plus your city, which will likely reveal several directory listings you may have forgotten about over time. Look specifically for outdated phone numbers, abandoned social media accounts, or listings where your address has changed due to a previous office move. Each of these represents a source of noise that distracts the search engine from the authority you're trying to project. If you're unable to gain access to a specific directory to update the information, you should focus your efforts on the highest authority sites that Google prioritizes, such as major aggregators. By ensuring that your most visible profiles are perfectly aligned, you can often mitigate the damage caused by some of the less significant, inaccessible directories. Over time, as Google crawls these updated, consistent profiles, your confidence score will increase, paving the way for better visibility in competitive local searches. Consistency is not achieved through a single quick fix, but through the cumulative effect of hundreds of perfectly aligned data points. See you in the next lecture. Welcome back. In this chapter, we're going to build a foundational citation profile that acts as the bedrock for your local search credibility. When we talk about citations, we are essentially discussing the digital fingerprints of your business across the web. These are mentions of your business name, address, and phone number commonly referred to as NAP data, found on various sites. Search engines use this information to verify that your business is legitimate and that it operates at the specific location you claim. The most important players in this ecosystem are the big four data aggregators, which act as the central source of truth for much of the internet. These aggregators include Foursquare and DataAxle, and historically, they fed data to hundreds of smaller directories. While their direct influence has shifted, they still form the backbone of the decentralized information network that search algorithms consult to cross-reference your site data. If your information is inconsistent across these platforms, Google may become uncertain about your business details, which leads to reduced visibility in the map pack. To build a robust profile, you must first establish a presence on the core Tier 1 directories that act as independent authorities. These include Yelp, Bing Places, Apple Maps, and the Yellow Pages, each having a significant impact on both consumer discovery and search engine trust. Creating a listing on these sites is not just about adding a link back to your website. It is about providing verified signals that confirm your identity to Google. You should treat these profiles with the same level of care that you apply to your Google business profile by ensuring that your name, address, and phone number are formatted exactly the same way every time. If you use a suite number in one place, you should use it everywhere, while avoiding abbreviations like street versus street, unless you apply that convention globally. This consistency is the mechanical way you demonstrate accuracy to the algorithms that crawl the web for business intelligence. Once the core directories are secured, your next step involves identifying industry-specific or niche directories that provide higher relevance than generic aggregators. A plumber does not gain much SEO value from a pet supplies directory, but listing on a national home services board provides a strong thematic signal. These niche sites are often viewed as more authoritative by search engines because they represent a curated list of professionals within a specific vertical. To find these sites, perform a simple search for lists of directories in your field, focusing on platforms that have active communities and clear editorial standards. Prioritize these over mass submission services, as the quality of the backlink and the relevance of the surrounding content matter more than the raw number of links. By positioning yourself alongside other reputable companies in your industry, you send a clear message to Google about the specific market you serve. When it comes to the technical implementation of these listings, you face a strategic choice between manual submission and using automated listing management tools. Manual submission allows for full control over every description, category selection, and image upload, which often lead to higher quality, optimized profiles. However, this process is undeniably labor-intensive, particularly for businesses with multiple locations that need updates across dozens of platforms simultaneously. Automated services like Yext or BrightLocal offer a scalable solution by pushing your business data to a wide network of directories in one go, saving significant time. The trade-off is often a monthly subscription fee and less granular control over individual listings on sites that might not be relevant to your specific business model. Most successful SEO specialists use a hybrid approach, where they use tools for the mass market listings and perform manual updates for the most critical Tier 1 platforms. Maintenance is as critical as the initial launch because citation data is dynamic rather than static. Directories frequently update their interfaces, undergo consolidations, or merge with other platforms, which can lead to your data becoming disconnected or corrupted over time. Furthermore, businesses themselves move, change phone numbers, or update their hours, making the ongoing audit of your citations a requirement rather than a one-time project. You should consider setting a recurring calendar task to spot-check your top 20 listings to ensure that the information remains current and accurate. Neglecting this maintenance can lead to the proliferation of duplicate listings, which dilute your authority and confuse potential customers who might find outdated information. A stable, long-term SEO strategy relies on the boring but necessary work of keeping these digital records clean and coherent. A word of caution is necessary regarding the vast sea of low-quality or spammy directories that clutter the online landscape today. You may find services that promise to list your business on 5,000 sites for a nominal fee, but these are almost universally harmful to your domain authority. These directories are built solely to house spam and low-value links, and Google explicitly penalizes sites associated with such patterns of low-value, automated link building. Engaging with these sites provides zero benefit and introduces a risk of triggering a manual action or algorithmic suppression against your site. Always review a potential directory's traffic, content quality, and general reputation before deciding to associate your business with it. If a site looks like it was designed in the late 90s solely for the purpose of hosting links, steer clear of it entirely. Building a foundational citation profile is a systematic effort that yields dividends in the form of increased trust and authoritative standing. By starting with the core aggregators, moving through the essential Tier 1 directories, and layering in relevant niche sites, you construct a web of evidence that verifies your business presence. This structure makes it significantly easier for Google to map your business to local search queries when a user has intent. Remember that visibility is a result of consistent, long-term adherence to clean data practices. As you grow, keep your focus on the quality of the platforms you occupy rather than chasing pure volume. This approach ensures that your local SEO strategy remains resilient against algorithm updates and provides a durable advantage in your market. I will see you in the next lecture. Welcome to this session where we explore how specific industry directories act as high-value signals for search engine algorithms. We will focus on moving beyond generic listings to build a sophisticated profile through targeted niche citations. When we discuss off-page signals, there is a persistent temptation to chase volume by submitting business data to every conceivable directory. While broad aggregators have a place in your foundational strategy, they often lack the topical authority required to distinguish your business in a crowded local market. Niche citations, such as TripAdvisor for travel providers or Houzz for home improvement contractors, function differently because they curate content within a specific professional context. These platforms are essentially subject matter authorities that crawl and categorize your business based on specialized metadata rather than just broad geographic identifiers. By placing your business within these ecosystem-specific directories, you provide Google with a robust set of relevant signals that reinforce your primary business category. This helps the indexing bots confirm that your restaurant, clinic, or firm is indeed operating within the specific sphere of influence you claim to serve. When an industry-specific database links to your domain, that connection carries significantly more semantic weight than a generic business directory link. To identify where these superior opportunities reside, we must look at the digital footprint of successful competitors who already occupy the top 3 positions in the local pack. I use this analytical approach because it removes the guesswork and provides a roadmap of the platforms that Google clearly trusts for your specific sector. You can execute this by exporting the backlink profiles of your top-performing local rivals and filtering their referring domains for directory-style websites. Often, you'll find niche portals that are not explicitly focused on local SEO, but are highly regarded by your prospective customers. Once you identify these targets, the task shifts toward ensuring your profile completeness is, quite literally, perfect. Simply having a presence is rarely sufficient to move the needle in competitive markets because Google indexes the structured data associated with these profiles. You must fill in every available field, including secondary service categories, professional accreditation numbers, and specific project portfolios to maximize the utility of the citation. Beyond commercial directories, we must also consider the role of professional associations and local chambers of commerce as trusted sources for verified data. These organizations are uniquely positioned as trusted entities because they require real-world validation, such as tax IDs or business licenses, to grant membership status. When your business is cited on the website of a recognized local chamber, it provides a powerful, high-trust signal that geographic proximity is both active and verified. This specific type of citation is difficult for low-quality spam operations to replicate, which is exactly why search algorithms value them so highly. By aligning your business with these regional authorities, you weave your digital identity into the fabric of the neighborhood or city region. This geographic anchoring assists Google in understanding exactly which service area you serve, allowing for more precise placement when a user performs a location-based query. Think of this process as building a comprehensive reputation, where every niche link confirms the reality of your business operation to the search index. See you in the next lecture. Welcome back. In this session, we will examine the mechanics of building a credible review profile, focusing on ethical acquisition and the technological levers that influence local search visibility. When we talk about reputation management, it is tempting to view reviews as a transactional currency to be collected by any means necessary. However, platforms like Google maintain strict policies against incentivized reviews or selective solicitation, often referred to as review gating. If you offer a discount or a gift card in exchange for a 5-star rating, you risk not only having those reviews removed, but potentially triggering a penalty against your entire business profile. An ethical framework requires that you provide every customer with an equal opportunity to share their feedback, regardless of their sentiment toward the service. By focusing on the customer journey, you can identify moments of genuine satisfaction where an invitation to leave a review feels like a natural conclusion to the interaction. Building an authentic profile is fundamentally about the consistency of your business operation rather than a series of manipulative tactics designed to trick an algorithm. Timing remains the most significant predictor of conversion when it comes to soliciting feedback from your clientele. Requesting a review the moment a service is completed or a product is delivered ensures that the experience is fresh in the customer's mind, which directly correlates to a more detailed and thoughtful response. If you wait for a week, you lose the emotional resonance of that interaction, and the likelihood of the customer completing the action drops significantly. You should integrate these requests into your existing touchpoints, such as a follow-up email confirming delivery or a direct conversation at the point of sale. While you want the process to be seamless, you must avoid overwhelming the client with multiple reminders that can lead to frustration and lower sentiment. A single, well-placed prompt is far more effective than a barrage of automated messages that come across as desperate or impersonal. The friction of the review process often acts as the greatest barrier to generating a healthy volume of feedback for your business. To mitigate this, rely on technology to bridge the gap between the customer's intent and the act of posting. QR codes placed on physical receipts, business cards, or signs at the checkout counter allow customers to scan and navigate directly to your review submission page in seconds. Email and SMS campaigns are equally potent when they use a direct link rather than asking the user to navigate to your profile manually. You must ensure that these links are optimized for mobile devices, as the vast majority of local search users will be accessing these requests through their smartphones. Simplification is not about manipulating the outcome, but rather removing the technical obstacles that prevent satisfied customers from expressing their experiences. When looking at search rankings, the algorithm evaluates 3 distinct characteristics of your reviews: quantity, velocity, and diversity. A higher quantity of reviews provides more content for the search engine to index, while velocity, the rate at which new reviews come in, signals that your business is currently active and relevant. Diversity refers to the age and spread of your reviews, showing the algorithm that your performance is consistently high over time. Creating a culture of feedback within your team is, therefore, essential to achieving these metrics. When employees understand that their day-to-day service directly impacts the digital reputation of the location, they're more likely to seek out opportunities to delight customers. This internal alignment turns reputation management from a marketing task into a central component of your business culture. Beyond the star rating, the actual text within a review serves as a powerful source of topical relevance for your business listing. When a customer explicitly mentions the specific service they received, such as residential HVAC repair or boutique furniture upholstery, they are reinforcing the keyword associations that help you rank for those terms. You can subtly encourage this by asking questions in your follow-up, such as asking what they thought of a particular service or how a specific product worked for them. Avoid asking for the mention of keywords directly, as this can sound robotic and may violate terms of service regarding review manipulation. Instead, frame your request to prompt a narrative response that naturally leads the customer to describe their experience with those specific areas of interest. This produces a rich, varied set of feedback that informs both potential customers and the search algorithm about exactly what your business provides. I will see you in the next lecture. Welcome back. Today we look at the mechanics of managing public interactions through Google Business Profile reviews. Review management is often misunderstood as a purely public relations task rather than a technical SEO activity. When you respond to a review, you're effectively appending fresh, relevant text to your business profile, which serves as a signal of activity and engagement to search algorithms. Google values businesses that demonstrate active management because it indicates a well-maintained operation that is likely to satisfy user queries. By incorporating relevant local keywords naturally into your responses, you provide additional context about your services or location to the search engine. This does not mean you should keyword stuff your replies, as readability for the human customer remains the primary priority. However, a thoughtful, professional response demonstrates that you pay attention to the details of your business operations. This consistent management style helps solidify your profiles, standing within the local pack and map results. When potential customers see your active engagement, they are statistically more likely to view your brand as reliable and trustworthy. Treating this as an ongoing administrative duty rather than an occasional chore will reflect positively in your long-term ranking stability. For positive reviews, the goal is to acknowledge the customer's experience while reinforcing your brand identity. You should thank the reviewer by name, reference the specific service or product they appreciated, and perhaps mention the team members involved if applicable. This level of specificity shows actual human interaction rather than the use of automated, generic templates. A simple thank you is sufficient, but a personalized reply creates a deeper connection that encourages future loyalty and repeat visits. This positive cycle of engagement provides the consistent activity signals that Google's ecosystem favors. Remember that these responses are public and searchable, so maintain a professional tone that represents your company's values. When prospective customers read these exchanges, they gain confidence knowing that you value feedback and appreciate your clientele. Negative reviews require a more calculated and disciplined approach to mitigate damage while maintaining your professional reputation. First and foremost, you must remain calm and objective, avoiding any temptation to get defensive, argue, or be dismissive of the customer's claims. Your primary objective is to acknowledge the concern, express genuine regret for the suboptimal experience, and invite the individual to resolve the matter offline. By moving the conversation to a private channel, such as a direct phone call or email, you effectively stop the public airing of grievances. This approach signals to both Google and prospective clients that your business is accountable and willing to resolve issues. If you can successfully turn that negative experience around, the reviewer might even update their rating, which is the best outcome for your online reputation. Using a framework where you validate the user's feelings, apologize for the inconvenience, and suggest a resolution path provides a consistent structure for every response. Handling fake or clearly malicious reviews requires a different set of strategies grounded in Google's content policies. If a review violates established guidelines, such as containing hate speech, conflicts of interest, or simply being spam, you should not respond publicly. Instead, you must report the review through your Google Business Profile dashboard by selecting the flag option for policy violations. It is essential that you specify the reason for the report, such as spam or fake content, and provide documentation if required. Engaging with a malicious actor in the comments often grants their claims more visibility, which is exactly why the flagging process exists. Your goal here is to ensure the integrity of your review profile by systematically addressing content that falls outside of the bounds of acceptable user conduct. Once you have flagged the review, you must be patient, as the review of such requests takes time and there is no guarantee of immediate removal. Ultimately, your review management strategy serves as a bridge between technical SEO signals and real-world customer service quality. When you systematically engage with all reviews, you're signaling to the search engine that your business is a relevant and active entity in the local geography. Consistency is key, so develop a small set of professional templates that you can adapt for various scenarios without appearing robotic or impersonal. Balance the need for SEO-optimized text with the necessity of appearing helpful and accessible to your target audience. Every interaction you manage is an opportunity to refine your brand's public image and reinforce your position as a legitimate local authority. Over time, this disciplined approach will become a foundational pillar of your local search presence and overall digital reputation. See you in the next lecture. Welcome back. In this chapter, we will address the systemic issue of duplicate Google business profiles and how consolidating them creates a single source of truth for your local SEO efforts. Duplicate listings act as a form of self-sabotage for any local business, effectively splitting your search equity across multiple distinct entities. When Google encounters several profiles that appear to represent the same physical location or organization, it struggles to determine which data represents the current ground truth. This often leads to a fragmented display where reviews, photos, and rankings are distributed unevenly, preventing any single profile from achieving the authority necessary to rank highly. Beyond the technical implications for SEO, these ghost listings create friction for your potential customers who may find incorrect hours, outdated phone numbers, or conflicting location data. By systematically identifying and merging these occurrences, you effectively funnel all historical trust signals into one cohesive asset that the search engine can confidently prioritize. Dealing with duplicates requires a disciplined, methodical approach to ensure that your business narrative remains consistent across the entire web ecosystem. To identify these hidden duplicates, you should leverage specific Google search operators to uncover profiles that may not be apparent at first glance. Instead of relying solely on your own brand name, perform searches using variations of your address, partial phone numbers, or combinations of previous business identities that might still exist in the public record. Many duplicate listings are created by automated systems, former marketing agencies, or well-meaning users who suggested an edit that Google interpreted as a new location. These shadow listings often linger in the database like digital debris, waiting for someone to claim or report them. If you locate a profile that is unmanaged but represents your business, you should initiate the standard claiming process to gain administrative control. Once you have ownership of both the active and the duplicate listing, you can submit a merge request to Google Support, which is the most reliable way to preserve the review history while decommissioning the redundant profile. It is vital to recognize that Google business profiles do not exist in a vacuum, as much of the data feeding these listings originates from third-party aggregators and directories. If your business has undergone a rebranding or a relocation, the legacy information often persists on secondary platforms like local Chamber of Commerce sites, industry directories, or social media pages. Google's algorithms continually scan these external citations to verify the accuracy of your profile, and incorrect data from these sources can inadvertently trigger the creation of new, unwanted listings. Therefore, a successful cleanup project must extend beyond the Google interface to include auditing your entire NAP, name, address, and phone number footprint across the web. You must manually reach out to site administrators to correct or remove outdated entries that conflict with your primary Google profile. By pruning these external inaccuracies, you provide the search engine with consistent signals that encourage it to trust your consolidated primary listing above all others. The root cause of most duplicates is a lack of institutional memory regarding past marketing activities, previous management, or simple clerical errors during site migration. When a business moves to a new building, the old address is frequently left active on Google Maps, becoming a trap for potential leads who may drive to a vacant storefront. Similarly, if a business name changes slightly, perhaps shifting from a descriptive title to a brand-focused name, the old listing often remains indexed as a separate entity rather than being updated. Implementing a cleanup project is not merely an act of administrative maintenance. It is an effort to unify your digital identity and prevent the dilution of your ranking power. By centralizing management under a single, verified primary profile, you remove the barriers to authority and ensure that every positive review and every high-quality photo contributes directly to your target ranking goals. Treat every duplicate as a leak in your metaphorical bucket of search equity and prioritize sealing those leaks to maximize your overall local performance. I will see you in the next lecture. Welcome back. This chapter focuses on the nuances of building a localized link profile to establish geographic authority. When we transition from general SEO to local SEO, we must fundamentally shift how we perceive the value of a backlink. In traditional link building, the primary goal is often to acquire links from high-authority domains regardless of their physical location. However, in a local context, a link from a massive, high-domain authority website that has no geographic connection to your service area often provides minimal benefit for local ranking. Instead, the algorithm looks for entities that confirm your presence within a specific city or region. You are essentially building a digital map of associations that anchors your business to a physical place. This requires a transition toward a local-first mindset, where each community interaction serves as a signal for your business identity. The cornerstone of this strategy involves prioritizing links from entities that hold inherent geographic authority, such as local government portals, regional educational institutions, and community-based organizations. When a .gov or .edu domain links to your website, it signals to search engines that your business is a verified, trusted participant in the local ecosystem. These links carry weight because they are difficult to obtain and are naturally tied to the specific infrastructure of your region. Think of your town's municipal website or a local community college page as a validator of your existence. Securing a link here is objectively superior to a high-volume guest post on an unrelated generic blog because it proves that you are part of the local fabric. Differentiating between national authority and local relevance is a skill that separates effective practitioners from those who simply chase vanity metrics. A national publication might have a much higher domain authority score, but a link from a local neighborhood blog or a regional news outlet provides topical and geographic relevance that clearly maps your business to a laser-focused area. Search engine algorithms rely on these signals to confirm that your business actually serves the community it claims to represent. When building a local link portfolio, you should focus on the density of these regional signals rather than the raw scale of the domain authority. A concentrated cluster of links from within your city boundaries is far more indicative of a dominant local presence than scattered links from across the country. Localized outreach requires a fundamentally different approach than the automated or mass-market tactics often seen in generic link-building campaigns. You should not be sending templated scripts to national publishers, but rather engaging in genuine relationship management with local stakeholders who actually care about your neighborhood. This involves monitoring local news outlets, identifying neighborhood blogs, or engaging with local chambers of commerce. When you reach out to a localized content creator, your pitch should be rooted in a shared community interest rather than a mere transactional exchange of links. You are looking for meaningful editorial coverage that highlights your involvement in local events, sponsorships, or community-focused initiatives. Every interaction within your geographic market represents a potential opportunity to solidify your local footprint. If you sponsor a local Little League team, hold workshops at a community center, or donate your services to a nearby charity, you should view these events through the lens of digital attribution. Many businesses miss the opportunity to ask for a link from event pages, sponsor listings, or press releases issued by these community partners. You want to create a web of local associations where search engines can clearly trace a line between your website and the institutions that define your city. This creates an interconnected network that signals to Google that your business is deeply rooted and actively engaged in its specific physical environment. As you build this network, ensure that the anchor text and surrounding content on the linking site accurately reflect your local service area. It is beneficial when a linking domain explicitly mentions your business name alongside your city or neighborhood. This reinforces the semantic link between your core service offerings and the location where you operate. By consistently focusing on these hyperlocal signals, you build a foundation of trust that is extremely difficult for outside competitors to replicate. Your goal is to mirror your physical community involvement in the digital space so that there is no ambiguity regarding where your business operates. I will see you in the next lecture. Welcome back. And today we turn our attention to the strategic integration of community involvement as a driver for local authority and search visibility. In this lesson, we will explore how offline engagement translates into digital equity through intentional link acquisition and local brand signals. When we discuss local search engine optimization, we often become preoccupied with technical configurations or on-page keyword density. Yet the most enduring signals often originate from the physical world. Sponsorships are rarely just altruistic gestures. They function as a catalyst for high-authority, geographically relevant backlinks that Google interprets as validation of your business's presence in a specific locale. When you sponsor a local sports team or a charity festival, you're effectively paying for a digital endorsement that signals your relevance to the community. The search engine crawlers view a link from a community organization's website as a strong indicator that you are a trusted entity within the area. However, it is imperative to verify that the exchange of funds results in a searchable, hyperlinked mention rather than a mere printed name on a flyer. We should always aim for a direct, followed HTML link on the sponsor's page, which serves as a pathway for link equity to flow directly to our domain. If a partner suggests a simple text mention without a link, it is your responsibility to explain the technical necessity of the hyperlink for tracking and acknowledgement. By ensuring these digital footprints are captured, you shift your local SEO strategy from passive participation to active, measurable asset accumulation. To aggregate these disparate signals into a coherent structure, dedicated community pages on your primary website are essential. Rather than scattering mentions of your philanthropic work across various blog posts, a focused community page acts as a centralized hub for all your local engagements, charity sponsorships, and volunteer efforts. This hub serves multiple purposes, as it provides search engines with a clear, consolidated view of your brand's involvement in the local ecosystem, which improves the semantic understanding of your geographic footprint. These pages should be rich in descriptive text, including the names of the organizations you have supported and the specific nature of your contributions, as this context is vital for relevancy. You must ensure that these pages are easy to navigate and linked from your primary site architecture, perhaps even directly from your navigation menu, if your community involvement is a core component of your brand identity. Documenting these events through photography and detailed narratives further enhances the page's value, making it more likely that other local stakeholders will reference or share your involvement. By curating this information, you essentially create a portfolio of trust that signals to Google that your business is an integrated member of the local economy. This approach prevents orphan content and ensures that every sponsorship contributes to your site's cumulative domain authority. Beyond passive sponsorships, active participation through hosting workshops or community events provides an opportunity to generate organic mentions and high-value social signals. When you position your business as a host for local educational seminars or charity workshops, you create a legitimate reason for other local websites to link to your domain as a source of information. These events generate natural buzz, which often manifests as early social media engagement, followed by news coverage and professional citations from local chambers of commerce or community news outlets. Networking with other non-competing local business owners is a parallel strategy that can yield significant mutual benefits through cross-promotion. By partnering with neighborhood businesses that serve the same demographic, such as a local gym linking to a partner health food retailer, you create a self-reinforcing network of backlinks that confirms your business is located at the center of a thriving commercial cluster. These cross-promotional arrangements should focus on genuine integration, such as co-authoring articles or establishing a shared portal for neighborhood news, rather than low-quality reciprocal linking schemes. When executed with a focus on local relevance, these tactics transform your website from an isolated digital document into a nexus point for community interaction, which remains one of the most difficult search signals for remote competitors to replicate. See you in the next lecture. Welcome to this chapter, where we will explore how to dominate specific geographic pockets by creating comprehensive hyperlocal content hubs. You will learn to build resources that function as authority anchors for your neighborhood, significantly increasing your local search footprint. The strategy of hyperlocal content hubs revolves around the creation of dedicated area guides that extend well beyond the immediate scope of your commercial services. When you position your website as a repository of knowledge regarding a specific neighborhood, you move from being a simple service provider to a local authority. For instance, if you operate a landscaping business, instead of only writing about lawn care, you might craft a guide on the historical parks of specific suburb or the seasonal flowering schedules of local botanical landmarks. This approach works because search engines equate topical authority with trust, and by covering a small, defined geography in extreme detail, you signal relevance to local intent queries. Readers stay on your site longer because the content provides genuine utility, reducing bounce rates and improving engagement metrics that Google tracks. Effectively, these hubs act as a bridge between the general public and your specialized service offerings, allowing you to capture traffic at the top of the information gathering funnel. To build these resources, you must integrate a logical internal linking structure that guides users from broad informational content to your specific service pages. A well-constructed hub should feature a main entry page dedicated to the neighborhood, which then branches out into subtopics like local community centers, annual festivals, or regional architecture. Each of these subtopics should contain a call to action or a contextual link leading back to your primary service pages whenever relevant. For example, a section detailing the challenges of managing historical home renovations in a specific downtown district should naturally link to your renovation or architectural services. This internal link equity flow passes the authority you have gained from creating the informative guide directly to the pages that drive your revenue. By mapping this architecture correctly, you ensure that someone looking for general information about their city area eventually sees your brand as the preferred solution provider for that area. Researching hyperlocal history, landmarks, and upcoming events requires a shift in how you query the web and interact with local data sources. Start by mining local government portals for archival information and zoning documents that often reveal the unique characteristics of a district. Engaging with community social media groups or local digital newspaper archives often yields nuggets of information that broader news sites overlook, providing you with unique, non-duplicated content. When writing, incorporate specific streets, neighborhood nicknames, and references to local public transport hubs identified during your research. This specificity allows you to rank for long-tail, hyperlocal keywords that competitors who rely on generic citywide terms will never capture. Always verify the status of landmarks or events before publishing to maintain the integrity of your information. Factual errors can quickly erode the trust you're trying to build with a local audience. Measuring the success of these hubs requires looking beyond vanity metrics to evaluate lead generation and organic growth. Track how users navigate from your informational guides to your transactional pages using goal tracking in your analytics platform. Monitor the organic search traffic specifically landing on your neighborhood-focused URLs, and check if these visitors demonstrate a higher conversion rate compared to traffic from generic service pages. Use rank trackers to monitor positions for keywords that pair your service with a neighborhood name, as these hubs often act as a lifting mechanism for your local search rankings. If the content is high quality, you should also observe an increase in organic backlinks from local blogs, neighborhood associations, and community portals, which act as a powerful signal of your site's physical relevance. Consistent monitoring allows you to refine the hub, adding more depth based on the topics that draw the most qualified traffic. Maintenance is the final, often overlooked component of a successful hyperlocal strategy. These pages are not a set-it-and-forget-it asset. They require periodic updates to remain accurate and competitive. Review your guides quarterly to confirm that the landmarks, business recommendations, or event details you mentioned are still current. Remove outdated information or move it to a historical archive section on your site to prevent user frustration. Furthermore, if you notice a specific part of your guide attracting substantial traffic, consider expanding upon it with new media or more granular details to broaden your reach. Maintaining this precision ensures your content continues to serve as a magnet for local backlinks, as other sites are more likely to link to a reliable, current resource. I look forward to discussing the next phase of your local growth strategy in the following lecture. Welcome back. In this chapter, we will master the art of measuring local search visibility through the lens of geo-grid tracking, moving beyond simplistic single-point rank monitoring. When we observe how businesses rank for local keywords, we often fall into the trap of checking rankings from a single point, usually where either the business or the searcher is located. This method, however, suffers from a dangerous reductionism that ignores the reality of proximity-based search algorithms. Google's local results are highly sensitive to the user's specific geographic coordinate at the exact moment of the query. Two potential customers standing only 3 blocks apart can receive entirely different search results for the same service. If you only look at your ranking from your own office, you are effectively blind to 90% of your service area. This is why we must transition our perspective from a single point to a holistic, grid-based footprint. Geo-grid tracking works by overlaying a digital mesh of points across your target service area, usually covering several miles or neighborhoods, and querying Google for your keyword from each of those unique coordinates. This produces a visual heat map where you can immediately identify exactly where your business is visible and where it is invisible to local searchers. If you're a plumber, you might see green indicators signifying a top 3 map pack position in your immediate neighborhood, while seeing red indicators signifying no visibility, just a mile outside your primary zone. These gaps in your grid are your weak zones, and they highlight precisely where your competitors are succeeding at the expense of your visibility. Analyzing these grids allows us to move away from vanity metrics and toward a granular understanding of how localized the search experience has become for consumers. Once you identify these weak zones using your grid data, you can formulate targeted strategies that are far more effective than generic SEO efforts. Consider a scenario where your grid shows strong rankings in the western part of your city, but a total absence of rankings in the affluent northern suburbs. Instead of just producing more content for your main landing page, you can create localized service area pages specifically optimized for those northern neighborhoods, including address-specific references and community-focused service descriptions. This strategy bridges the gap between your physical location and the digital visibility you lack in those specific grid coordinates. By treating the grid as a map of opportunity, you transform your SEO work from guesswork into a surgical, data-backed expansion of your presence. When it comes to communicating value to clients or stakeholders, these visual heat maps are arguably your most potent tool. Many business owners struggle to understand the technical nuances of local SEO, but they intuitively grasp the concept of a color-coded map, where green means winning in that neighborhood and red means losing. Showing a client a map that transitions from mostly red to mostly green over a 6-month period provides an objective, undeniable proof of performance. It shifts the conversation from abstract discussions about algorithm updates to concrete discussions about geographic market share. This visibility helps you justify your efforts and demonstrates the tangible increase in the potential customer base that can now find the business when they search for services. Moving from tracking a single point to understanding this geographic footprint is fundamentally about changing how you view your target market. Single-point tracking is a legacy habit, akin to measuring the effectiveness of a store by only asking the person standing in the front door. By adopting geo-grid tools, you gain the ability to conduct an ongoing audit of your competitive landscape in real time. You will start to notice patterns, such as shifts in the grid whenever you update your service category or when a new competitor gains traction in a specific suburb. This level of insight allows for iterative, agile optimization that keeps your business competitive regardless of how complex the proximity factors of the current algorithm become. I look forward to seeing you in our next session. Welcome back. In this session, we will examine the technical architecture required to ensure local landing pages remain accessible and properly indexed by search engines. Technical SEO for local businesses is often misunderstood as merely optimizing for broad ranking factors. Yet its true purpose is to reduce the friction between a crawl engine and your localized content. When you manage a business that operates in multiple regions, the primary risk is structural ambiguity. Search engines must distinguish between a generic homepage and specific location pages, where they might struggle to associate your entity with a physical service area. If your crawl budget is wasted because of poor site architecture, key location pages may never even reach the index. We must ensure that the technical foundation is clean, logical, and strictly controlled to prevent the search engine from getting lost in a maze of nearly identical location-based content. Mobile performance is arguably the most critical technical barrier for the local user, who typically searches while on the move with limited patience for slow load times. If your mobile site takes more than 3 seconds to render, the probability of a bounce increases exponentially, and Google's Core Web Vitals will penalize your rankings accordingly. You should look beyond superficial speed metrics and focus on minimizing main thread work and reducing JavaScript execution times on your location pages. This ensures that a potential customer searching for a plumber or a dentist nearby receives an instant, functional experience rather than a white screen. A technically healthy mobile site acts as the bridge between a high-intent query and a successful conversion, confirming to Google that your site is the highest quality destination in the map pack. Managing duplicate content is a frequent pain point for businesses with multiple locations that share similar service descriptions. If you copy the same text across 20 different location pages, you trigger a canonicality issue where search engines cannot determine which version to prioritize in the result set. The idiomatic way to solve this is to implement self-referencing canonical tags on every unique landing page, explicitly telling the crawler that the current URL is the authoritative source for that region. When you have small variations due to regional differences, ensure that your breadcrumb navigation is implemented using structured data consistently across the domain. Breadcrumbs provide a clear hierarchical path from the root directory to the specific city or suburb page, which informs Google of the structural relationship between your main brand in your localized satellite offices. XML sitemaps are often overlooked as mere lists of URLs. But for a multi-location entity, they must be treated as a strategic roadmap for the crawler. Your sitemap should be segmented by location, ensuring that newly created service pages are explicitly signaled to search engines rather than left to be discovered via orphan links. Never accidentally include a no-index tag on your location pages, as this instructs search engines to remove the most valuable asset in your local SEO arsenal from their index. Similarly, your contact page must be hyper-accessible, meaning it should not be hidden behind complex forms or dynamic content that requires interaction to reveal. A clean, static contact page is the hallmark of a well-crawled local entity, providing the definitive signal that this business operates in this specific geographic area. Finally, consider the holistic impact of your technical infrastructure on the visibility of your localized content. All of these adjustments exist to serve the same objective, which is to create a frictionless experience for the search engine's algorithm. By removing indexation blocks and organizing your navigation through standard web practices, you allow Google to map your digital presence to the physical world accurately. Think of these technical efforts as the underlying scaffolding. Without it, even the best content strategy will eventually collapse under the weight of crawl errors and duplicate content penalties. Once you have solidified these technical primitives, you move from a state of guessing about your indexation status to one of having complete control over how your location content is represented in the search ecosystem. I look forward to our next discussion. Welcome back. In this session, we will examine the technical and operational frameworks required to maintain high search visibility across a large array of business locations. Managing a single listing is a matter of diligence, but managing 100 requires a shift towards systemic architecture. When you scale, manual updates and fragmented processes become the primary enemies of consistency and rank. You must transition from viewing local SEO as a per-listing task to viewing it as a robust, centralized data pipeline. The objective is to apply enterprise-level governance to every Google business profile while ensuring that individual locations remain distinct to the search algorithms. By standardizing your inputs, you reduce the surface area for errors that typically accumulate as your portfolio grows, such as inconsistent hours or conflicting service area definitions. This efficiency allows you to focus your attention on the unique characteristics that allow each location to capture its specific geographic market share. The foundation of scaling begins with the bulk verification process through the Google Business Profile Manager. When you reach a threshold of 10 locations, you become eligible for bulk verification, which is not merely a convenience, but a necessity for integrity. This process requires you to submit a spreadsheet containing all your business information, which then undergoes a centralized review by Google. It is crucial that your NAP, name, address, phone, data, is perfectly audited in your internal database before this upload, as errors propagated at scale are exponentially more difficult to reverse. Once verified, the dashboard allows you to push common attributes, such as payment methods or primary categories, to all listings simultaneously. However, you must carefully reserve specific fields for manual input to ensure that localized nuances, such as store-specific transit directions or local staff bios, remain authentic. Scaling your content strategy effectively requires a sophisticated landing page architecture that avoids the algorithmic traps of doorway pages. Many businesses mistakenly create thin, duplicate pages for every city they serve, which signals to search engines that they are manipulating rankings rather than providing utility. To avoid these penalties, your site structure should feature a main brand domain with subdirectories that serve as dedicated hubs for each location. Each hub must contain unique, non-boilerplate content that addresses local conditions, such as neighborhood-specific service requirements or local partnerships. By leveraging structured data, specifically local business schema, For each location page, you provide clear, machine-readable signals that connect these subpages back to the centralized brand entity. This hierarchy ensures that the authority of your main domain flows downward, while the local pages maintain their individual relevance. Reputation management at scale requires a hybrid approach that balances corporate governance with the immediacy of local-level engagement. You should deploy a centralized review management platform that aggregates all incoming feedback into a single pane of glass for monitoring purposes. While corporate teams should define the tone and standards for public communication to maintain brand safety, the actual responses benefit significantly from local personalization. Granting store managers access to respond to their own reviews, guided by a clear set of response templates and compliance training, serves to foster genuine community connections. This local-level output signals to both customers and search algorithms that the represented business is an active, living participant in its immediate geographic community. Centralizing the data while decentralizing the communication creates a loop of accountability that is both scalable and human-centric. See you in the next lecture. Welcome back to our final discussion, where we will consolidate our tactical knowledge into a robust, long-term growth machine. This chapter is designed to transition your focus from the initial setup phase toward a sustainable, repeatable maintenance framework. Building a presence on Google Maps is not a project with a defined finish line, but rather a continuous cycle of refinement and adaptation. Once you have successfully optimized your Google business profile, established your citation foundation, and published locally relevant content, you enter the maintenance phase. This phase requires a transition from reactive technical adjustments to proactive strategy based on observed performance data. A repeatable monthly checklist is your best tool for managing this shift, as it ensures that you do not neglect the baseline tasks that keep you relevant. You should dedicate time each month to audit your core business information, review the health of your citations, and track the influx of new, authentic reviews. By standardizing these actions, you eliminate the cognitive overhead of deciding what to work on next, allowing you to focus your attention on the nuance of local engagement. Consistent, incremental improvements are significantly more effective for local rankings than sporadic, high-intensity sprints. The landscape of search engine optimization is notorious for its volatility, as Google frequently updates its algorithms to favor new patterns in user behavior. Staying updated with these shifts requires a methodical approach to information intake rather than constant reactive panic. You should cultivate a habit of scanning official industry news rather than reacting to every unconfirmed rumor reported across social media channels. Distinguishing between core algorithm updates, which often shift ranking signals significantly, and minor tweaks is essential for maintaining your sanity and focus. When you notice a sudden dip in your local ranking or a shift in the local pack composition, your first step should always be to review the latest documentation from authoritative search sources. Often, what appears to be an algorithmic penalty is simply a change in how Google interprets a specific signal, such as proximity or industry relevance. By keeping your practices aligned with Google's stated goal of providing the most relevant local answer, you insulated your business from the worst effects of these recurring updates. Interpreting monthly performance reports is the diagnostic component of your long-term growth, and it requires a disciplined detachment from vanity metrics. You should focus your analysis on actionable insights like how customers are finding your profile, whether through direct searches of your name or discovery searches for your services. If your discovery metrics are stagnant despite an active posting strategy, it may indicate a need to pivot your content focus or double down on local landing page optimization. Do not treat these reports as mere confirmation of your success. Treat them as a feedback loop that identifies which areas of your local strategy are underperforming. If you observe that your engagement drops after a specific type of social post or update, you have clear permission to adjust your creative strategy for the following month. The objective is to use this data to constantly refine your assumptions about what your local audience finds valuable and actionable. Managing expectations regarding ranking timelines is a delicate balance, as SEO is a long-term investment that rarely yields instant returns. You must communicate to yourself and your stakeholders that local trust is earned through consistent signals over several months, not days. A common pitfall is abandoning a strategy prematurely because the desired rank hasn't materialized within the first few weeks of implementation. True ROI in local SEO comes from cumulative growth, where historical authority compounds with every new positive experience and verified citation. You should measure success by the quality of leads and conversion rates rather than merely monitoring pixel-perfect rank positions across every possible keyword. By framing your expectations around gradual, sustainable growth, you maintain the patience required to outlast competitors who eventually tire of the process. Ultimately, the most sophisticated SEO strategy in the world cannot compensate for a product or service that fails to satisfy the customer. Positive reviews and genuine word of mouth are the oxygen that fuels your local SEO ecosystem, and these are entirely dependent on real-world excellence. When a customer receives stellar service, they're naturally inclined to leave the feedback that feeds the high-intent rankings you are seeking. Your goal is to integrate your SEO activities with an operational commitment to high-quality service, creating a virtuous cycle where great performance drives better rankings and better rankings drive more customers. You now have the frameworks and templates required to build this system, so the time for theory must end. Begin your first monthly cycle today and start executing the strategy you have learned to claim your position in the local market. I appreciate your focus throughout this series, and I look forward to seeing the results of your implementation. See you in the next lecture.